Rob Bell, What is the Bible? How an Ancient Library of Poems, Letters, and Stories Can Transform the Way You Think and Feel About Everything. The Bible, the best-selling book in the world, is a treasure trove of stories, poems, letters, and accounts that continue to inspire people across ages and cultures. What is the Bible? By Rob Bell explores the historical origins and context behind the Bible's content, throughout which we trace the themes of liberation and hope for the oppressed. Bell also underscores the radical and progressive ideas in the Bible, which came from a marginalized and persecuted people. This introduction to the Bible emphasizes the importance of discovering the divine within its human elements and invites readers to engage more deeply with the stories' profound lessons and their potential application in contemporary life.
Unveiling the Bible's Origins. The Bible is a remarkable book that has been misconstrued over the years. While it's a bestseller, readers aren't aware of the history behind the biblical stories that hark back to the oppressed Jews who wrote them. This book's centrality is liberating the exploited, and it is an exception to the rule that history is written by the powerful. The Bible changed the Jewish people's worldview, and they identify themselves as imbued with a divine purpose. The story of Exodus is a revolutionary idea that slavery can end, among other themes that continue in the Bible's narrative. Nobody can deny the Bible's significance, and this understanding gives insight into why it continues to captivate millions. The progressive ideas in the Bible. The Bible may be dense and complex, but it also has a clear common thread that describes a historical shift in the way people considered both the world and the divine. It introduced progressive ideas that were groundbreaking at the time, such as the concept of a tribe that cares for others. One important example is when God prevents Abraham from sacrificing his son. This was a subversion of expectations that portrayed a new God who wouldn't request such a brutal offering. The Bible's implication that people outside of religious institutions can show righteousness is also significant, as it shows that God is larger than any one tribe. The Bible, a human reflection of the divine. The Bible, written by real people in response to real situations, reflects humanity but also contains evidence of the divine. Its humanity makes it accessible to non-Christians. A famous parable illustrates the lesson of forgiveness and the concept of home. While inconsistencies in the Bible show human error, the similarities connecting stories highlight their evidence. For example, the different accounts of Jesus' resurrection in the Gospels, with women first witnessing it, underline the truth of the account. The Bible's shift towards peace. The Old Testament's violent context influenced the authors of the Bible, but the book ultimately advocates for kindness and forgiveness. The Bible tracks a shift away from violence towards peace, as demonstrated through narratives condemning violence. The book invites readers to follow a path towards God, but ultimately leaves the decision to the individual. The contradictions within the Bible. The Bible is not a static text, but one that evolved over time with different authors and perspectives. This fluidity is seen in the contradictions within the text, such as the differences in the accounts of who ordered the census in 2 Samuel and Chronicles, and the contrasting views on circumcision. These incongruities reflect the changing beliefs and attitudes of the authors and the societies they lived in, and illustrate the ongoing development of the Bible as a narrative. Poetic interpretations of the Bible. The Bible is often viewed with skepticism due to its mythical nature. However, this mindset causes readers to miss the entire point of the book. A better approach is to view the use of magic and myth poetically, rather than literally. The story of Jonah and the whale, for instance, begs a larger question of forgiveness and the love of God's followers. By viewing stories poetically, readers can uncover profound learning buried within the Bible. The Bible, asking the right questions. This passage discusses how asking the right questions about the Bible can lead to a more profound understanding. By analyzing the creation story and the story of Babel, the author's intentions in crafting the narratives become apparent. The author notes that compared to other creation myths, the Bible's story offers a non-violent conception of divinity and humanity's place in the world. Additionally, the story of Babel cautions readers against the abuse of power and technology. By asking why a particular passage has endured, readers can gain insights into the Bible's timeless relevance. This passage concludes that by asking thoughtful questions, we can uncover a deeper understanding of the Bible's lessons and apply them to our modern lives. The Bible's relevance today. The Bible's teachings remain applicable in contemporary life and can guide us in preventing climate change. It has the power to transform our lives, but only if we approach it with curiosity and embrace its profound issues. The Bible is not only a religious text but a source of wisdom that has relevance in modern life. Its teachings can help change our perceptions of the world and guide us in upholding our divine responsibility to take care of the planet. Stories of the apocalypse that emerge in different forms, such as the world-engulfing flood that only Noah and his family escaped, instill in us a basic human fear that life could end in a moment's notice. While we cannot control such a possibility, we can control how we behave on Earth. At present, humans seem to skirt their responsibility by abusing fossil fuels, polluting natural resources, and using toxic chemicals. What if all the human anxiety about the end of the world could be redirected towards preventing climate change? Embracing biblical teachings and questioning them with curiosity in our hearts can help us see ancient stories as relevant to the present day. The Bible holds the potential to transform our lives if we approach it with an open mind. Matthew's resurrection story, for instance, reminds us to confront ourselves and consider profound issues of our existence. By putting our skepticism aside, we can embrace the Bible's stories as great works of poetry, as tales of humanity that can change our lives.
Rob Bell's What is the Bible? Reveals the ever-evolving nature of this ancient book, which remains relevant today due to its ability to kindle hope in readers and address crucial life questions. By viewing its stories through a lens of humanity and divine purpose, we begin to appreciate the Bible's complex and sometimes contradictory narrative. Ultimately, the Bible encourages us to ponder our existence, explore our beliefs, and connect with a larger purpose rooted in love and kindness. Rather than dismissing the Bible as mere folklore, we should regard it as a timeless repository of stories that can guide us in our journey and inspire transformation if we let them.